Hello, everyone. I'm Noreen, the founder of Inspiring Women in Hospitality. And in today's video, I'd like to introduce you to Jane. Jane has kindly agreed to come on as a facilitator for the upcoming inaugural Inspire Influence live in London on the 7th of November. We're going to have several roundtables. We're going to be together for a full day, and at each roundtable, you're going to have a facilitator. And this facilitator is going to be there to guide and mentor and coach you throughout the day. And one of these facilitators is going to be Jane. So right now we're going to spend a few minutes together to get to know her better and to find out what she's going to be sharing with us throughout the day. So Jane, let's start with your introduction. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Noreen. So currently I'm a director at Deloitte. I sit in the real estate team. My focus is operating real estate, specifically hotels. My most recent history is within the hotel industry. I was head of the hotel valuation team at CBRE prior to joining Deloitte in April 2023.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you and I have known each other for a good couple of years now as well. You've been a great supporter and advocate of mine since really the beginning. You said yes when I started the podcast. You joined the membership and you've joined my advisory board now, and you've said yes to being a facilitator at this event. So thank you so much for your support. You're someone that I've admired a lot over the years. And as I've said numerous times in my communications over the last few months, is that we're creating something where I wish I had those mentors with me throughout my career. And we're really going to be focusing on, getting to have that undivided attention from each one of you. And before we go any further, I wanted to ask, what have been some of the career highlights for you?
So I think my career highlights probably it's the right thing to say. One of my most favourite jobs was working in Hong Kong with JLL in the mid-90s. So there was a recession here in the UK. There wasn't there. It was at a time of great activity with the airport being built, leading up to the handover of Hong Kong. I suppose I feel very close. I feel like it's where I belong. I grew up in Hong Kong. I was born there, so so it still feels like home. And when I went back to work, it was great. I got involved in some really interesting projects, a lot of development valuations, and primarily, I suppose, looking at, again, operating real estate or mixed-use development, a lot associated with the airport. I got the chance to travel a bit to the Philippines. I also got the chance to take part in lots of different activities there. And one thing I really enjoyed was dragon boat racing. So I was in a team in Hong Kong, and that took up a lot of my social life. I suppose the other highlights I've had was working with CBRE in the hotels team and leading that across Europe. So I think both jobs gave me the opportunity to work with a wide range of people in terms of gender, age, nationality, race, everything. It was a great mix. And the type of working environment I really love. So yeah, those are the sort of main two I can think of.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, having just come back from Hong Kong, I think that city still has that same level of energy that you experienced all those years ago.
Yeah.
So we are here to talk about influence, and influence is really the theme of the event on the 7th. We're calling it How to Become a Woman of Influence. So why is influence important in our careers?
I suppose influence to me, it sort of conjures up words like subtle, perceptive, supportive. It's important, I think, to influence and be influenced. Certainly has been to me over my career. I was looking up the term or the word influence. What does it mean? So I read quite an interesting article in the Harvard Business Review about the topic of influence, and what did it say? I suppose something that we all probably acknowledge is people who say less, it doesn't really matter, but what matters is what they're saying. So I think that's an important point. I think having influence means that it's more than just doing the talking. It's about taking charge and understanding the roles that positional power, emotion, expertise, and non-verbal signals as well. They're also important. I think those four aspects are important and are essential to understand if you wish to succeed as being a leader. So I think they're all things that I've connected with over my career. As I say, hopefully influencing and being influenced has always been important. And from a subtle perspective, I suppose has always been my own personal approach.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. And I think that's the beauty of the day that we're going to be spending together, is that there are going to be 7 other ladies facilitating different tables and all with different careers and perspective on influence. And I love the 2 that you just shared there, that subtlety. And it's, yes, it's to influence, but also to be influenced, to kind of keep that openness. 100%, it's almost less is more all the time. Recently, I did a recording with Philip Ward, who used to be formerly at JLL, and he had the same observations. It's the people who actually said less, or perhaps more introverted, that said actually, when they actually spoke, they said something far more profound and effective than the ones who were doing most of the talking. And the nonverbals are so important, and we're going to be covering a lot of that on the 7th. Everything from your body positioning, your posture, your voice, the way you're speaking, the pace you're speaking. So, there's definitely a lot to cover in there. And finally, I'd love for you to share a story about influence.
Mm-hmm. So I've actually got 2, if I may. The first one I think shows it's a slightly longer term play, and I've had, I suppose, experience of that in 2 jobs where I've had a more of a leadership role. So the first, I think, was about both sort of running teams. The first was a smaller team, again doing operating real estate valuations, different aspect to hotels, but similar. And also the hotel team that I led at CBRE. Being a valuer, consistency is really important. Accuracy, unsurprisingly, yes, that's very important as well. I think the things which help to drive that, and certainly for the team at CBRE, influencing them, hopefully they all agree, was a positive thing in terms of making the team harmonized in terms of our product. So our report templates, our valuation model, I suppose the expertise the team demonstrated in their reports, to me, was always really important to provide that consistent, well-rounded product to clients. And giving that consistent approach across the teams came through influencing people to say, yes, I'm happy to adapt. And it wasn't always exactly the same in every single country, because you've got the nuances in each country as well, and being aware of that. But I think generally speaking, if people got a report from CBRE hotels, they go, this is a consistent product, I know what I'm going to expect, I know I'm going to get great quality. So those things were really important to me when I was leading that team, and as I say, hopefully influence them into having that consistent approach. And the leadership within each country, that was important for them to influence down. So yeah, I think that was important. Another thing that was also, which may sound a bit mundane, is also our consistency in filing our notes, our research. All of these things are critical, because again, from a valuation perspective, you need to have something which is a great file, everything together. Anybody can go in and look at it and see and understand your thought process. So that influence was important, because again, we were audited at CBRE, and I have to say the hotels team, and I will say it, got great feedback. We were always consistent. And so that was another point
well done,
of influence,
well done.
which I think was really important. So again, because of obviously consistency and attention to detail, focus is critical. The other case, if I may, is a little bit more of a sort of short-term picture that I'd like to give. So I had a colleague very recently that wanted to attend a conference. We all know at the moment it's quite difficult to get these things signed off. So I wrote a business case for him and said, okay, what would be the benefits that we would get out of him joining this conference, which was, again, an operating real estate topic, not hospitality, but his area of expertise. So I put that together, had some of his input, we put it forward. It was signed off, which was great. But I said to him before he went, we had to prepare, make sure that he got the most out of the conference and that he could give the best feedback when he came back. So it was preparation before he went. Who was he going to meet? How was he going to interact? What was he going to try and get out of it? Were there particular sessions he wanted to listen to, particular people he wanted to meet? So that was important. Then actually when he was at the conference, how was he going to sort of conduct himself? How was he going to get around people, etc. And then when he came back, it was feedback. Okay, so what was the feedback? Who was he going to follow up with? What did he get out of it? What did the firm get out of it? So I think, that's a bit of a sort of snapshot case. But yeah, one I've come across and probably will continue to come across going forward, but enabled him to get to the conference. And I think for everyone was a positive outcome. So yeah, 2 examples of influence, if that's okay.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jane. And I wish I had someone like you guiding me when I first started going into conferences, because I just went so unprepared, not even like the preparation in advance, but also like during and then the after. I was just, it was very much deer in headlights a moment for me. So Jane, thank you so much for sharing your stories, your career experiences, and I look forward to spending the day with you and the others on the 7th of November.
Thank you, Noreen.